This is 8-Ball, my 65 Mustang that we've basically restored and supercharged. In this video, we're gonna make it a whole lot faster. As soon as I get it started up. As you probably know, we have done everything to this car. From suspension, to brakes, to paint, to supercharger, you name it, I've tackled it. Except for one thing. The factory 3-speed manual transmission and factory highway gears. This thing is a total dog. Also, it wheel hops like crazy because it still has factory leaf springs in it. What? The blow-by? What about the blow-by? So in this video, we're gonna fix all of those problems. Minus the blow-by. I'm gonna be installing new leaf springs, a Toploader 4-speed, and a 350 Posi rear, and that's gonna wake this right up. So let's get to work. Booyah! Some chrome sockets we trust. I have absolutely no faith that these old leaf spring shackle bolts are gonna unbolt, so that's what the cutoff wheel is gonna help with. Oh, here we go. Number 2. You don't have to film the frame rust. It's fine, we can still put a leaf spring on that. The reason I'm cutting this bolt and not just popping it out is that the inside of this leaf spring has a rubber bushing. Inside of that rubber bushing is a metal sleeve that the bolt goes inside of. For the 60+ years that this car has been driving, that bolt has been mated to that metal sleeve, and it is not allowing the bolt to come out. I can hammer on it all day long. It's probably rusted together. So I'm just cutting it all off. Got one part of the bolt out. Now I gotta get behind here and slice it again. Oh my God, have you ever tried to sawzall something that's really in a tight space? It's so fun, because the sawzall, when you go a little too forward, it hits what's in front of it, and you go a little too far backwards, it hits what's behind it. Fuck! I don't like this game. This game is both hard and dangerous. Like me. Yeah, that bolt's stuck in there. The Sawzall is not making a dent. My solution to this problem is to create a weapon. I call it the Slicey Handoff 5000. I'm going to put a lot of trust in the integrity of these gloves. This should perfectly cut off the leaf spring bolt. I bet I hit the bolt with the impact and it breaks. Yep. Here she rolls. Come on, side number 2. Look at these. Look at these stupid leaf springs. That was like an hour of solid work getting these stupid leaf springs out. I'm now fighting to remove the old leaf spring bushing. Ooh, I'm getting good at this now. Okay, the bent needle nose pliers can get in there and kind of rip it out. It's working. Okay, the old leaf springs are out. Now I'm not gonna be just installing normal leaf springs in 8-Ball. I'm installing these, which are 5-leaf leaf springs. You guys have seen this car's cool 70s stance. I wanted to keep that, so instead of lowering springs or normal springs, these are 5-leaf springs. I have some nice new hardware to install these leaf springs. So what I'm gonna do is basically the removal process backwards. Where's my hammer? Booyah! Got new bushings, just gonna put a small amount of grease on them so they don't squeak. Now I can slide these into the leaf spring. Then I can prep the new shackle here, which I'm also gonna lube up a little bit. And this is gonna go in so easy, I bet, I hope. Light work, baby. Easy, baby. Man, I'm getting good. Finishing touch. And now for nuts. I'm just gonna play with my nuts here for a minute. Start screwing if I'm feeling crazy. Tight. Loop spring number 2. Ooh. Bushing number 2. I know I might not need to have the grease in there, but it makes it 100 times easier to put those bushings in. And leaf spring 2. Install. New U-bolts. Now I'm gonna install these chrome traction bars that I said I was gonna install probably 2 months ago and never did. The point of traction bars is to prevent axle wrap and wheel hop. When you dump the clutch in something with leaf springs like this, a lot of times, that backwards force on the axle causes the leaf springs to wrap, and then they can go back and forth, causing wheel hop and breaking things. So these traction bars bolt onto the leaf springs, and this rubber thing, when you dump that clutch, pushes up against the eye of the leaf spring right here and keeps the axle from wrapping. I don't know if that was even a good explanation, but it's the best I got. Traction bar number 2. Now, since we have to both replace the center section and the transmission, drive shaft has to come out. Nuts are off. Now for the drive shaft. I'm gonna try not to drop anything. This U-joint looks to be older than the sun. Greasy old stinky drive shaft. I've done so many of these rears, I can probably do this in like 2 minutes. 1 off. 2. Oh, I love this about stock axles. This is actually awesome. Stock axles have this access hole to get to the axle bearing bolts, which is amazing. I had Moser axles and noise complaint, and I would always have to get really fancy wrenches back there and stuff. This is gonna come right out. And now for my all-time favorite tool, the vice grip slide hammer. Oh, I love this thing. You might ask yourself, Tom, where do you find a vice grip slide hammer? As you can see, you don't buy this. They find you. You gotta reach a certain level of mechanic before your vice grip slide hammer meets you. They do actually make tools for this, but I don't have one. All I have is the vice grip slide hammer, so I'm gonna get to yanking. She's coming. Boom! That took about 20 minutes of slide hammering, but axle number 2 out. Now let's pop out this old center section. I'm not gonna use this again, so whatever. I think this is gonna be some record sludgy dip goop. Oh my God, look at that. I doubt this has been touched in decades. Oh yeah, baby, there we go. Old rear end, thank you for your service. Looks pretty goopy and dark in there, but nothing worrisome. That thing is tired looking. I'm kinda on a roll right now, so while the rear diff drains all its old goop out, I'm gonna pull this 3-speed out. Should be pretty easy. Shifter is loose. Off she comes. Transmission bolts. We're getting close. Now we shall muscle this transmission out. Oh yeah. 3-speed out, baby. I think we can just toss this 4-speed in. It should be the exact same size, it's the same length. The input shaft spline's the same, so let's toss it in. It's gonna be heavy. Okay. I need the shifter up in the hole here, which is what I'm doing. Do you think if somebody almost gets in a collision with a Dodge, but they have a near miss, do you think they say, Chrysler averted? I'm letting the transmission back down because I realized I definitely need to take the shifter off. I'm trying to finagle it in there without pulling the shifter off because I'm being lazy, but it's making it impossible to fit. So. All right, now for attempt 2 on the install. I removed the front shifter linkage so that the transmission can slip in this tunnel a little better. And I also took off the trans mount. I think I f***ed it up again. Woo, this is hard, guys. Holy shit. I don't know why I thought this was gonna be so easy. Attempt 3, trying to be much more careful and calculated this time.
One eternity later.
So the reason this trans is not sliding in beautifully is because this right here, I actually don't remember what it's called, but the input shaft cover or housing or something like that is pretty pitted and rusty, and it's not sliding over the throwout bearing. I didn't really think about that before installing it, but it's hanging us up. I'm glad I did that because this entire input shaft is very, very crusty. The inside bearing looks fine, but that input shaft is, ugh. And yes, I know I'm doing like 1,000 wrong things right now. I don't really care that much. Now I'm gonna grease this up a little bit. That's much smoother. I'm using the 4-speed cover, which has a little input shaft seal in it that was rock hard. So I'm getting it nice and warm with the heat gun and rejuvenating it with some oil. And it seems to be working because it's gone from rock hard to semi-malleable. So after that, I'm gonna get it nice and cleaned up and we'll reinstall. And I think we've achieved machine finish. And we are good for reinstall. After seeing how rusty that all was, I'm really losing faith in this marketplace transmission. And everything's torqued to spec. Now I just know it's gonna slide right in this time with absolutely zero effort or problems. First part lined up. Oh, okay, we're getting close. Oh wow. Oh my gosh, it's amazing how easy things go together when you do like a little bit of forethought. Wow, that just popped right on there like nothing. Sweet. That's probably too tight, but it's perfect. I just realized half the bell housing bolts, you know, the bolts that hold the transmission to the engine basically, were loose and one was missing. So this thing can currently wiggle away from the engine. That's not good. So I'm gonna tighten those. Thanks, Impact. Making my life way easier. I'm gonna reuse the trans mount off the 3-speed because I think it's compatible. I ordered one, but it's not here yet, so this will work. Everything's tight on this. Nothing is ever coming loose, even if I wanted to. It would help if I put that on the right direction. Beautiful. Update! My plan for this just flawlessly going together without doing any measuring or research has f***ed me over once again. The shift linkage on this Hurst 4-speed shifter is hitting the floor support here, and also the trans mount will not go up because the shifter is hitting the floor. So what I'm gonna do is cut stuff to make it fit instead of buying the right shifter. Because that costs no money and the shifters cost money. Now this should be perfectly clearanced for that shift linkage. I've chosen to pause on the transmission and move on to the rear now because I have to put the car on the ground to get to the carpet and the shifter and cut a bigger hole, etc. So let's toss in that 355. Similar to the transmission, I bought the center section on a marketplace for 350 bucks, but I can see that it is a 355, and I can also see that it's a Posi, so it's gonna be an improvement. I didn't buy a gasket, so I'm just gonna slap this up with gasket maker. It'll be alright. And we got it perfect. Now for the really annoying task of lifting that center section onto these studs. Come on now. The trick here is getting it like perfectly aligned, because if it's a little bit twisted, it will not slide on. And we are basically installed. Perfectly torqued. I'm very careful about this. Axle 1, back in there. Where's my hammer? And axle 2. I hope these stock axles never break, so I never have to say goodbye to this hole right here. I love this hole. It just love drilling this hole until I get my nut. And that's how easy it is to swap a center section. That's awesome. Perfect. Quick drum replacement here. To whoever commented on Instagram, recondition, that's funny. That's what I just did. Now for the drive shaft, this is actually the right length. However, the slip yoke is different. But I found that a Fox body slip yoke for a T5 transmission has the correct spline count and appears to be the same size U-joint. So I'm just gonna try to use this. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I'm hoping I can reuse this old U-joint because I only bought one and I want it in the back. So I'm gonna be extra gentle on this.
Got it.
Now, reusing this junky old U-joint, I'm going to slip it into the Fox body yoke. I think this might actually work. What do you think? Should I reuse the clips that have probably been on the car for like a really long time? And then hopefully, maybe, just maybe, we can use another stock clip. Oh! Wow, that went so much better than I expected. This U-joint definitely is gonna get replaced. And I only bought one, so this is the one. Boom! Old U-joint. New U-joint. If you haven't noticed, my install methods are not OSHA approved. They are bad and dumb. Alright, that got it most of the way there. Really good for brand new U-joints, by the way. New clip, flip it around. Whew, that's gonna be a tight fit. Basically gonna force the clip to stay in. And just like that, we are done. I still have to fix the transmission height issue, but I wanna put the drive shaft in. Oh yeah. And drive shaft's installed. I think it's gonna work. I'm very sad to be doing this right now, but I have to remove the center console only because it doesn't work with the shifter. And I also have to cut a bigger hole in the floor for the shifter too. And the console's not gonna work with either of those things. So I'll set it aside for maybe a later date with some modification. But for now, I just wanna make this thing drive. R.I.P. Till a later date. Why are you cutting the carpet open, Tom? Wouldn't it be way smarter to just buy the correct shifter and not have to get rid of the console or modify the carpet or cut a gigantic hole in the floor? Yeah, it'd be a lot smarter to do all of those things, but all those things also cost money. So basically I'm just gonna cut a big hole, zip tie the carpet back over it, and then put a Hurst shift boot on this and it'll be good as new. Now don't worry, I'm gonna keep this floor chunk so someday I can weld it back in. Chances of that happening, real slim. But I'll keep it. Look at that, new hole in my floor. We get a little zip tiage in here, okay. We get a little floor mattage in here, okay. A little shift boot, it's gonna be perfect. Tom, there's a giant hole in your floor now. All the weather's gonna get in. Watch this. Have I removed a little bit of structural integrity? It's possible, but it'll be okay. Trusty Dynamat here. I kept a little paper on so I won't be rubbing sticky stuff on the shifter. And I'm going to bunch this up to create a new hump. Stick it in there, bunch it all up. Look at that. Seal off some of that weather that would be coming in. That'll be fine. Then the carpet will cover it, and we all live happily ever after. I got the linkage back on, so now is the time where we see if all of our modifications to the floor have allowed the transmission to fit. I'll be very sad if they haven't. Oh, it's looking pretty good though. Trans cross member fits now. Last step before we test to make sure this works on the lift, obviously, I'm gonna put fluid in both the rear and the transmission. First, we got friction modifier and non-synthetic gear oil. I'm so glad it's on the lift. I don't have to use that stupid pump. I hate that pump. It makes me crazy. Makes me want to do bad things to bad people. Or good people. have to use a pump on the transmission. We didn't quite have the right gear oil, but we did have gear oil. And this transmission, I think, is gonna last 2 bank shifts before it explodes, or maybe it'll surprise me. So it doesn't really matter what oil we're using. Transmission is full. Now what I'm gonna do is hop in the car, fire it up, and make sure this thing shifts. All right, I will admit, I'm a little nervous right now. I felt a clunk. Looks to me like we got a working top loader. Now the exhaust can go back on. Feeling pretty good. O2 sensor. And the car's back together. Oh. And we are on the ground again. Looks like we have maintained our 70 Street Machine stance with these 5 leaf springs. Let's go for a spin.
Believe it or not, I had 0 shift knobs that were the right thread for the shifter, so I'm gonna ghetto this. Normally, I absolutely hate this, but I want to drive the car right now. So I'm gonna toss on this old B&M T-handle, which threads beautifully onto my electrical tape. Nice, really nice. That'll work for now.
I put so much work into this car, I absolutely need to drive it. But the small problem is, it is pouring rain right now. I don't have wipers, I don't have 2 working headlights, and I have this funnel that just allows rain to go right into the motor. So I'm gonna rig up a different scoop just for now, so I can go take it for a spin. Now, not only do I have this old school blower scoop to go on for now, I'm putting it on backwards, so the motor does not suck rain in when we're moving. Unless we're going in reverse. But we don't have to get technical here. The clutch is slipping really badly. And I do remember earlier accidentally spraying PV Blaster directly at the clutch. But hopefully we can burn it off. I try to adjust the clutch a little bit. I think it might be out of adjustment now, which is not that big of a deal. After some adjustment, yeah, we're fine. I will admit, I'm a little nervous. Clutch isn't slipped. First gear. Second. Yeah! Oh, we got 2 gears! 2 gears! Oh, I've never been so excited about second gear. First again. Second. Third! Oh, yeah! Oh, I've never been happier about third gear. I can already tell she wants to spin, baby. Pop out, not popping out. Oh. what this thing's really like. I'll see you then. Today is the day. It's dry out, it's bright out. I legit have not driven this car at all since we got back the other night in the rain. So now, let's see how this thing runs with a 4-speed. I'll do the honors. It is maybe 30 degrees. That Tom's Reverb tune-up sounds pretty good to me. We got a new lens too. You might notice you can see me better. About half throttle. I also have gotten this car really nicely dialed since the last video. I played with the jets in the car, got the timing perfect, air fuel is perfect, so it's running about as good as it possibly can. I'm gonna give her the beans. Are y'all ready for the beans? See how much better this car is. It's down now. Cameraman, what do you think?
I like it. I have one complaint.
What?
When you do a pull, the door opens.
You're so hard to please, dude. Like, I'm having fun, all right? And you're like, oh, the door's open. I'm gonna fall out and I'm gonna die. Why don't you just man up a little bit, dude? Matter of fact, get out. Get out. Try and close it.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better. What do you think? Should I go right for the bank shift?
Yep.
Okay. Open again.
Yeah.
The electrical taped knob is not very comfortable for bang shifting. It's like tearing my fingers up. But I don't care. I think I'm worried about a little finger damage. Ask your mom. These unusable. Do you think that's getting worse? It looks like a train.
You can see a reflection in the scoop. Hi, that's me.
Ooh, maybe I won't go for the burnout. Just a couple men and their horses. Get in a Mustang. It's because I'm in a Mustang, and that's. I gotta say, I'm really impressed with this holding together. These Facebook Marketplace parts that have not broken. Knock on wood, they're fine. The only problem is the wheel hop because the boom tube is currently sandwiched between the traction bar and the leaf spring, causing it obviously to not work right. So we do have some wheel hop, but that's fine because this thing's running awesome. It might be ticking a little bit more than it was at the start of the video, but it's awesome. One more for good measure. In Mexico, we just passed a Mexican state trooper. And this car left a gigantic mosquito burning smoke screen behind it. Well, let's just hope that all goes well and we make it back to America. To America, we say. Let's hope that Mexican trooper is not following us. You know, from Mexico where we've been filming this whole time. I'm gonna take the shortcut back to Mexico that I'm familiar with. This car is awesome. I love this car. It couldn't have gone better what we did this week. I'm so happy with this transmission and this rear end. And I'm also happy that that Mexican state trooper that actually did bang a U-turn after we did that pull did not find us. So guys, thanks for watching the best day in automotive content on YouTube. I'll see you guys very soon. Check out the Patreon because I got some awesome cars on there. Check out Tom's Refurb merch because I am dropping new stuff right now. And also check out Speedy's equipment because I got a restock coming pretty soon. Love you guys so much. Makes me insane. Bye.